Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack on Productions. Today, I, Bancroft, am being joined by Jimmy, Nick, Austin, and like always, Fluff. Well, sometimes like always.
Sometimes like always, the reoccurring character.
Sometimes like always.
Hi, peeps.
And today we have, well, you know what? We've been trying to change this up a lot, and I figured I'll let Jimmy take a take at these. It hasn't been quite 30 seconds yet, Jimmy, so please be sensitive.
Well, now I can't say what I wanted to say.
Now it's been 30 seconds.
All right.
To say hi, but hi, people.
Hi, Fluff. How are you?
Y'all just skipped over me. Damn.
Yeah, look what you did, Bancroft. You just cut out one of the main guys. Also, we lost Jake. Sad day, Jake. But no, this is ECW One Night Stand 2006. This is Randy Orton versus Kurt Angle in the second match of our locals.
So, out of curiosity, which one is which in this case?
Well, I'd say Frieza would be like Kurt Angle because he's more like, you know, some submission type. He's trying to keep his opponent down, while Piccolo is more of a methodical type of play.
Gotcha.
I'd say.
Frieza blew up a planet out of nowhere. If that is not the Dragon Ball equivalent of an RKO, I don't know what is.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, this is like, maybe this is Frieza's Randy Orton pre-lighting the Fiend on fire on a pay-per-view.
Well,
I'm so lost.
Well, with that being said, I'm sure a lot of people may be lost. If you're not, kudos. Nick is playing Frieza while Austin is playing Piccolo, and I'm guessing that one drop takes 2 of your lives. I missed what happened there, but with that being said, don't forget to click those buttons. They're there for a reason. Thank you very much.
Hancock has not read a single card in this.
So
match.
with King Piccolo, the leader, you start with 6 life automatically.
That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah. Which it feels so weird putting down 6 life, but honestly, I didn't miss it. All the games I played, I never missed.
I'm so glad my mic was muted because I just spit water everywhere because that is so fucking true. Bancroft has not read a single card in this set.
I read the cards I play.
But
and well, he doesn't even read those. It took him half the night to realize that he was playing Slug wrong.
I wasn't playing wrong. I was just misinforming you on putting cards back sometimes.
That's cheating, bro. That's fucking cheating. I should ban you for that shit.
So one thing I did in this duel that I had to remind myself a whole lot of is with piano, I kept missing my draws. Like I think I missed the draw on this first one when I swing, flip a life face up, and then we'll put a card in my hand and my life face up and take a life. And because piano, whenever you put a card in your life face up from anywhere other than your life, so if you put a card from your hand in your life face up or your deck in your life face up, once per turn you draw a card. And I said on that one, but I forgot many times to draw.
In our matchup, every single time you would put a card in your life face up, you'd be like, okay, now draw. And you would lay your hand down and be like, I have to draw now. And then you would pick up a card. And I think even then you still missed a couple.
I think I missed one with you, yeah. But then I caught up later because I had to reflip a life again. I'm like, okay, I can do it now. But also, if you all notice, first King Piccolo, first obsession, I call the one drop. I did the Frieza Army Reborn. Then the second obsession, I got Frieza Army Reborn again in that search. I was so mad.
That's always the worst, picking up a search, and it's like you got that one card you would want to get into your hand, but you can't grab it, and now it's going to be lost in the shuffle. It's so depressing when that happens.
But one thing I will say real quick is I saw people talking about using the Bardock in this deck. That's why I put it in there. It is useless. I never wanted to play it. I never wanted to play it with this deck and with the Unison. It just took up space, and I don't think you need it.
Yeah, I feel like the deck wanted to go into the late game a lot more than it does. I feel like the Bardock would be a lot more valuable.
Yeah,
but in the case of your particular build and the way you're taking it, I don't think it's really worth playing.
It's probably sideboard worthy if I need to play a little slower, but I think that's about it.
So, Nick, you're playing Mecha Frieza, and you had a pretty standard Mecha Frieza turn 1 inputting the Chappelle on field, which is, I mean, obviously really good. Chappelle is just ridiculous. But you do play the Metacooler Unison in the deck. Yes. How does that feel over not running a Unison at all like I do, or the Vegeta Unison of Fury?
Well, one, I don't have the Vegeta Unison, so can't play it that way.
So would you run that over Metacooler?
I don't know, because I feel like my deck has a good amount of pressure in and of itself. The Metacooler is really good for draws. So once you use your extra cards from your leader effect, you can put it under that for a +0 and draw a card. So it just helps you just get more in your hand, because with the deck I'm running, it's a split between the Unite package and the Gotenks package. And the Gotenks package really gives you draws in and of itself. So I have tons of draws. Like Austin and I were talking, like we both had really fat hands the whole game. Like it pretty much came down to the very end because we both had so much that we do. But I like the medical use, and it works for my build. And the rejuvenate's also nice too, because most people don't want to swing at it, so you can just build markers up slowly over time, and then just get an extra life back, so you can use it for your extra cards later.
I always felt like the Unison of Fury was a lot more attractive in my eyes due to it being very good against stuff like Swap Broly and Dark Broly, where Dark Broly is basically just shut down by the card when you -1. But I also feel that Yellow also just has a good matchup against those decks to begin with. So I was interested to see what you thought about between the Metacooler and the Unison of Fury. Do you think that could be a possible sideboard that you would side out the Metacooler into it? Or do you feel like the Rejuvenate is too valuable?
Well, the Rejuvenate doesn't come up too much because you have to have 5 markers on it. And the only way to add markers is, well, there's 2 ways. You can either put a copy underneath it or activate an extra card, but that's once per turn. So ideally, you can get the 5 markers off turn 4, maybe. So it doesn't come up as regularly. I think the Vegeta Unison would really come into play if you're lacking pressure. Because if you don't have any big boys and you're just playing more defensively, you're going to need something to close the game out, and that Vegeta Unison, that's where it would come in handy.
Oh, for sure.
One thing that I was talking to my brother about this deck, the King Piccolo. I was talking to Nick about it too. We think people aren't playing as much because you start out with 6 life, and they're like, oh, it's 6 life, but technically you have 7 because you automatically get a life back when you awaken. And then you can get Rejuvenate off once per turn. And playing against like the decks I did the other night, I never missed having the extra life, and it was just so nice because people like Nick did a smart thing. He was trying to attack my Unison in this game so I couldn't get the Rejuvenate, but that also kind of helps protect my leader then, because people are swinging at the leader, and you don't need Rejuvenate to win the game. So it's nice because you have the so there's a lot of security in this deck, even with only 6 life. Well, 7.
And we talked about it after our match this night, that the King Piccolo Awaken, depending on what they're swinging with, could just basically be a negate in itself.
Yeah.
In that, if they're just swinging with a big single striker, in the case of like a Dark Broly, then you can just Awaken and pitch the life that comes off the top of your deck, because you're still staying at the same life total as you were before Awakening.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting way to think about that particular Awaken skill, and I think it's a super dope leader for the amount of versatility you have within the deck.
Yeah, it's become my favorite Awaken because you draw 3 cards, then put a card in your life. Like, it's usually I like the untap 1, draw ones, but this has become my favorite Awakening. It just feels so good to draw 3 cards and put a life back in. And you can easily, if you go second, you can Awaken turn 2 easy. Like, your turn 2, because you just swing once, put a card face up in your life, from your hand, and then turn 2, swing, put a card face up in your life, then you Awaken. And you also can Awaken if you're at 2 life, which puts you at 3, and when you Awaken. And so it's just, I really enjoyed it. The fact that you're at 6 life just gave me personally, I felt more opportunities to do the things that I wanted to do. Like, if this deck was at 8 life, I generally think it would be a little more difficult to play if they still had the same Awakening kind of thing. But it'd also be a little too good if they had 8 life. Like, them making it 6 life was very necessary.
I don't know what's going on, but that's just so confusing to watch right now.
So here's what happens. So when the leader swings, you pick 3 Namekians or Red Namekian or Demon Clan cards in your hand, put them in your life, then take 3 cards from your life.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I remember Matt walked by and he was like, "It's so weird seeing all your life face up." He was watching our duel, and It is strange, but I love that you use the life as a second hand, because one thing I love seeing, like, I remember the Piccolo super combo, but what you do is you put him in the life, then you activate battle to combo with it when you're at 4 life, and then you never lose a card in your hand. It's not like it's replacing it. You're getting more hand advantage because of that, because you combo with it from your life by the activate battle. You replace the life, so you're not losing a life, and then you draw a card, and then because you place the life face up in your life, you're drawing a card from piano. Yeah. So you're drawing 2 cards and getting a 10k, super combo. It's really good.
Now, I didn't play against Awesome. I did play against Nick's Mecha Frieza deck here. And so far, Nick's already applying the pressure with 2 different Chappelles, and your Gotenks is still on the board, which is pretty nice. I mean, you did just get Topo, but you do have a lot of control capabilities there, which I feel like a Mecha Frieza deck should have.
Yeah, which I thought this build was really interesting because it ran the Gotenks package, and I thought about that when I was building my list, but I never wanted to tap out at any point. And of course, you could wait till the later turns to pay 3 for your Gotenks, but I feel like that's still really risky. Like, how did that work out for you throughout the night, tapping energy for those Gotenks?
So it wasn't too bad because I take my own life to awaken with using my extra cards, so it's really easy to get awaken, and you can choose when you want to awaken. So my plan was to awaken on the turn I casted the Gotenks, just so I could at least have 1 energy open, because more than likely I'll have an extra card for defense, like a negate or Vegeta sign a flash, or if I have my Unison on board, I have my Vegeta counterplays. So it didn't feel too bad tapping 3 for it, just because I normally would do it on my awaken turn. If I didn't have it on my awaken turn, or if I didn't have it at 3, I would just hold on to, or not do it, of course, but I didn't want to do it too early unless I knew I could awaken and get myself some energy back.
Yeah, so far my experience with Mecha Frieza has been that is the biggest no-no, is tapping out at any point. And every time I seen you do that, I was clenching my butthole for you, because I was like, oh, he's about to get clapped on right here. But you somehow always kind of got out of it, which is really surprising to me. And I guess that the Father and Son Goku does help out in that you get to tap a battle card when you use the promo pack Trunks and Goten for it.
Yep.
So that Goku is a nice cushion. So I thought it was a really interesting build, an interesting take on the standard Mecha Frieza list, where it's either you run the slug package or you just run other good yellow cards. You don't really run a more offensive package like the Gotenks.
Gotta ask real quick. Yeah. Was that ruling involving that card's secondary effect where it gets warped at the end of the turn?
Yep. And I called Jimmy over because I thought it wouldn't. Jimmy's like, yeah, no, it stays on the field.
I was gonna say you keep it, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, it helped out quite a bit being able to keep it.
Definitely a mistake. I had a Vegeta counterplay in hand, and if I knew the ruling correctly, I would have done that one instead. Because he would have been able. Because I played it immediately after.
I mean, getting rid of a double striker on field is never a bad idea. Of course, it does leave a single strike, but that's a lot more manageable than a double strike, especially in Mecha Frieza.
Yeah.
Well, what he's saying is if he had used the Vegeta, it'd have been in rest mode. I could have swung with it and it would have gone away.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that would have been the best play, but it's not always a bad idea if you don't have access to the Vegeta currently and you only had access to Bloodlust.
Yeah. So it's coming up here. Nick and I both were like, this is a lot of craziness going on. We're both flooding our boards. We're doing a lot of stuff.
The board is crazy right now.
This was a fun game to play. I think Nick and I both agree this was a more favorite game of ours we've played. And
yeah, it was I wasn't paying attention to anything outside of what was going on.
Because Jake said he was up watching us. He thought I was nervous because I have a thing where I just see right there. I look at my cards and I hit them on the table when I sort through and looking through them. And Jake thought he was making me nervous, but I did not notice anyone behind me. And then Jake was like, Matt and I are right behind you. And the only reason I knew Matt was there because I heard him say, "It's so weird seeing your life face up." I had no idea anyone was behind me. And we were so invested in this game.
And it's just the simple fact that all your life is face up. If those were face down, this would look like a standard red board. It's nothing crazy, but then you see all those cards face up, and it's like it's so confusing. And with a deck that has as many moving pieces as King Piccolo, I think the concept of missing cues or misplaying slightly becomes very easy.
It does.
And I think it's going to be it's going to take a very focused player to be able to get King Piccolo into a point where you're consistent with it and consistently getting all of your cues and consistently choosing the correct cards at the right time.
Yeah, because I had a match later, for first place in this thing, and
Wow, you're just gonna spoil who won, man? Damn,
Yeah,
bro.
they still have like 5 minutes left.
Man,
I'm sorry.
man, you just ruined Nick's spotlight.
Well,
He's gonna
thanks for
he's gonna
tuning
be like,
in.
oh, like,
That's the video. Sorry, Nick, he
It's
ruined it
okay.
for you. Gosh.
sad day.
Sorry.
It's okay. This deck is trash anyway. It's probably gonna get scrapped after the end of this anyway.
No, don't scrap. It's got a lot of good stuff in it.
No, it's great. See, my biggest mistake here was when he sparking me twice with the after image. I should have stopped with the pressure, because I had the Gotenks SCR in my hand. So what I should have done was just tap forward, play that blank the whole board, and then I would have had an open energy for more defense stuff. Because I would have had my blockers, I would have had anything, so I could have kept alive another turn. But I was getting too greedy. I was like, I have a big board. I have a ton in my hand. Let's see if I can out pressure him.
And
so
that's
this is
the
biggest
issue.
mistake.
Because like with King Pix, I'm gonna cut you off.
No,
But with King Piccolo, the only 1 plus 10,000s I have is those Piccolo Junior you see in my life, but there's 2 of them. Everything else is 0 plus 5,000. Every single battle card I have is 0 plus 5,000. So you have insane amounts of combo power. You're drawing a whole lot. You have the active battle once per turn. You can combo from your life, so you have extra combo from that. And it's just, this deck has so much combo power going for it that, because like, he just keeps swinging with everything. His blocker, he's trying to get me down, and I just kept comboing out, and he even throws another double striker down to try to like that. It's just, I was surprised at how much combo power this deck had. This made me realize like how much it had.
Yeah,
And
red is.
you are just a crazy.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, you're just you're a good defensive player, Austin. Like, you're probably one of the best in the shop on defense.
Oh, thank
'Cause
you.
You've been playing you've played Metacooler a lot, and your build is defense. So you have really good insight in when to combo, when to negate. So like, it's hard to get through attacks playing against you because you know the battle step very well.
Yeah, Cooler Mail helped me a whole lot with that because I used to be just an aggro monkey and I had no idea how to defend. And then I played like Cooler Mail for like a year straight and learned how to actually play defensively. So I'm glad it's
Did you just
showing up. I
hardcast
still
the
feel like
super
I'm
combo?
okay at defense.
I was getting desperate. But see, one of the good things about 2 is I can Vegeta's Final Flash, just take a life for it, and it works. So, but
I took the super combo for my life there because that's not a good bonus about seeing all your life. You think, I'll take this one, if you have to take a life. And I just comboed out entirely that last attack. And then.
yeah, and that's where I was like, well, I'm fucked.
Yeah, it was a crazy game. That entire thing, I was sweating. I was like, oh god.
So what you're telling us is that you overextended.
I thought I didn't. I thought it wasn't an overextend, but clearly it was an overextend.
Quick question. I'm not sure if I can't remember if you do or don't. Sell Xeno.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen your board just flood very quickly.
Oh, I have it. I just don't use it in this. I use the Gotenks SCR. I mean, I could use it if I wanted to. Honestly, with this build, since I do really good with defensive playing stuff for free, it wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
But some people don't have that card, so
No, I'm aware.
yeah.
Plus, now you get the Gotenks SCR for incredibly cheap. It's in the reprint pack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
I've
get
actually-
girls next to nothing.
I've actually been building a few decks utilizing that secret rare, and it's still on the lower end of power level when it comes to secret rares, but it's still a pretty solid card for what it is.
I would say it's not bad. It's just there are better options. Because if you tap 4, blank the whole board and stop incoming autos too. So I mean, essentially your opponent just has to hit you with single strikes the whole game, which isn't bad in and of itself. And then if they even try to go for the go tanks, like you're gonna field. So if you have it, or if you're looking for a cheap option, it's a decent SCR.
So I remember right there in that hand when I was looking up, I think Jake was behind me talking to me, and I was like, man, this Yamcha. I was like, I didn't have my 4th Piccolo didn't come in, so I had to substitute this for Yamcha. I was like, I'm not gonna proxy it, saying it's Piccolo because it's gonna mess up continuity for stuff. So I can't pick it. I was gonna pick it, but I was like, man, I can't. It's not in the Mechian. And then so I ended up going to Tambourine just so I could have it in my life for combo or whatever, or just a 0 + 5,000. And that's right there. What I did was I KO'd my card 3 energy or less with Unison, and then I KO'd all of his 3 drops or less because it's the Piccolo Unison does when you activate to -2. And then I -2 again with the Rejuvenate effect to get rid of it and give myself an extra life.
Ooh, depending on what's in your... Oh, he's talking battle card first. Never mind. And you're already back up on life.
Yep. Because that Rejuvenate. I think Rejuvenate's, from what I've seen, just from what I've been looking into, the Piccolo Jr. with King Piccolo is probably one of the best Rejuvenate combos I've seen, just because King Piccolo automatically gives himself an extra life too.
Yeah.
And there's just, even though it starts out with less, it's better for King Piccolo in the long run to start out with less. Like, and then right here, I came over and asked Jimmy if I got a combo with that, because it's 1 + 10 in the energy area. But the card says combo with a card from your life, so you can combo with it for free. So it's a 1 + 10,000. And there's the game. But I was going to say, with the leader, they did really job designing this leader, I think, of King Piccolo, because they could have very well made it like ridiculously crazy if they did a little much. They put a lot of thought process into the cards, the engine with it, how it works with Rejuvenate, and I think it's I think it's a good and strong leader, but it's not crazy broken.
Yeah. Well, it looked like it ran pretty nicely. But with that's okay. Look, we've had one of these before where I feel like it was in the first 5 minutes. Jimmy was like, "Yeah, I know I lose in this match, but whatever." And I'm like,
yeah, because it was Go Tanks versus Baby for like the 7th time on the channel. Of course, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell everybody, "Hey, you don't have to watch this like awful duel because
it was the second time." But all right,
it doesn't fucking matter. It might as well have been the 7th time.
But yeah, with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you click some buttons. I mean, they're there for a reason. Let's go through a round of last words. Let's start with Jimmy.
I have nothing to say to you.
I mean, that's not normal, but Nick.
Well, the only thing I can say was a hell of a match. Both of us did our best. We played our best, and that's all we could ask for.
Austin?
No, I agree with Nick. I told Nick I think that was one of my favorite matches I've played, like I think ever, because him and I were both playing our best. Like we were just going crazy at it. It was neck and neck. It was very sweating. Like it wasn't like someone was dominant the entire time. It was back and forth.
Yeah.
And
both of our decks did exactly what they meant to do.
It was a ton of fun, and I was so happy to play that game.
This is why I like when new sets come out, because I mean, Jimmy, you mentioned in our last duel when it was me versus Jake, Slug was a green deck that actually looks fun to play against. Both those decks you guys played, and I played against, like I said, I played against Mecha Frieza. That was fun to play against, and it looked like the Piccolo would be fun to play against. Like I like where this set's going and what these new archetypes are giving us. So with that, Jimmy, I'll give you one more shot. Last words.
Again, I have nothing to say to you, but I do have something to say to Nick. Nick is currently a world champion solitaire player. He last night at locals, and he really blown us all away. And like, I think the practice has paid off. You've seen that massive board that he built with Frieza. You know, he was really playing solitaire out there.
Well, with that being said, Fluff, would you lead us out?
Like God intended, Austin and Nick's decks did not touch. Read your cards, know your plays, and like always, Fluff out.
What?